Last year, but the odds were, and it did come out, I got to stand over here so I don't have reverb, that you were going to start in the minors as opposed to this year where you know this is your job. But is there any difference at all?
I don't think there's any difference as far as how hard you work. You're always working to where you can, become the best player you can be. But as far as sort of knowing and the experience of what I gained last year and the time that I was up, sort of gives me a little bit better idea of what I need to work on in the off season.
Is that the same for you, Nolan? Because last year, very similar position. You opened a lot of eyes in spring training, and by the middle of May, you were here for good. Are you looking at it from the same perspective that now you kind of understand what it's all about and it's just getting the work in?
Yeah, last year I came into spring training, just wanted to leave a good impression with the staff and front office. So I was able to do that, and I got my opportunity last year and tried to take advantage of it.
This is very much a sport of opportunities because there are only 25 roster spots active at any time. And Brad, last year you did exactly what Nolan did in spring training. You left such a favorable impression that when the first need came up, you were the guy they called. Take us back to last spring training and what your thought process was, not knowing where you were going to end up, but just saying, hey, Brad here, remember me.
Well, it was my first camp, and so just like Nolan, I just wanted to come in and work as hard as I could and leave a lasting impression. And so I knew it was going to be a long shot if I made the club out of spring training. But once I found out that wasn't going to be the case, I just wanted to get down to Norfolk, work as hard as I could, and try to get back up there as soon as possible.
Were you surprised how quickly you were called up?
I was. I knew that I would have a chance if I was pitching well in AAA, but again, you never know how it'll work out. I didn't know if that chance was going to come 2 weeks, a month, or a September call-up.
Earlier when Andy McPhail was here, he was talking about prospects coming along and how you need to have many to get a few. And it's kind of interesting in your case looking back because there are so many top-notch pitching prospects in this organization that I know you weren't overlooked by the front office, but maybe overlooked in the public, and yet you were the guy that came up and had success. And that just shows you that, if you work at it and there is an opportunity, it's all up to you if you're given the chance.
Oh, there's no question about that. I mean, this game, it's all about the opportunity, and when you get the chance, you just have to make the most of it.
Brian, you got your chance. Unfortunately, when Brad got hurt, you took his spot in the rotation, and your year really turned because the initial plan was, well, let him pitch till Labor Day and send him home. It's his first pro season, and here you got 8 valuable starts. Tell us about that and what that means to you now looking forward to this season.
Oh, sure. It was really unexpected. Being in Bowie, I was told I was going to be there the rest of the year. So, when I got that call, unfortunately Brad went down, but I got that opportunity, and it was exciting. I made the best of it, and it was a fun 8 starts. It's nice to have it under my belt going into next year, that I've had that experience, and I struggled a little bit, and I was able to end on a positive note with my final 3 starts being pretty strong. So it's really exciting ending on a positive note like that, and have that experience to carry it over to 2010.
You and Brad actually couldn't have taken more opposite paths to the same rotation because Brad, coming through the system, made every single stop, including 2 short season teams. Within half a year, you were in the big leagues for good. When you're in the minor leagues, knowing that you're a top prospect, because we keep telling you that, and it's pretty obvious we do, is it difficult as one of those guys to just let it play out, or are you anxious to get the call to come up?
Oh, sure. I mean, the ultimate goal goal is to make the big leagues, and I was anxious, and Frederick and Bowie just wanted to make that step, wanted to just go out there and play hard, get better each and every outing, get that minor league experience, and just continue to learn. And luckily I was able to make that jump in my first year, and it was a lot of fun.
Chris, you came in the Eric Bedard trade and proved yourself here very well. What was it like for you when you got the call? Because again, you're the youngest player on the team still. You're still 21, and yet you progressed enough in such a short period of time that you were given a chance to come up.
Yeah, absolutely. Like Brian said, it came as like a shock. I think it was coaches that went down, unfortunately, and they gave me an opportunity to come up. And I think the biggest thing was getting my feet wet, getting my feet underneath me, and got to establish a relationship with these guys. I think it made it easier with all these guys being up here, and having friends here, so to speak. But getting to know the guys is huge.
Matt, did you feel that way too, that when you were called up, I mean, by the end of the year, was it all of the top prospects were here, or at least most of them? It has to be a little easier looking around and seeing guys that you played with in the minors.
It's definitely easier, and I was fortunate to see Brad and Nolan both be up before me, so I sort of had those two guys to lean on, and not so much for the baseball aspect, but for where am I supposed to be at this time, where am I supposed to be at this time. You don't want to be late for BP, late for stretch, so you sort of lean on those guys to sort of help you out and help you get through the first couple weeks.
When you started in AAA last year, you're very much like Brian. You were the top position player prospect going into last season. Was there any anxiousness waiting for the call, or are you the type of person that, hey, when they call me, they call me?
Well, I think AAA is something I hadn't experienced. I hadn't experieed that sort of level of talent you're playing against. So I was going to it with sort of an open mind and really saying I sort of want to see what AAA has and try and play as well as I can there. And was fortunate to get the call sooner than later.
Nolan, did you feel the same way? Because like Brad, your career was similar. Every step of the way, once you were drafted, beginning with your first season in Aberdeen, were you just looking at that as, I need a little more experience, so let me just show them?
Yeah, that's what I did when I went into the year. I went all through the minors every step of the way. So I went into this year thinking, go down to spring training, leave a good impression, do what I can do in AAA, and get off to a good start, and just wait for my opportunity. And you got to be patient. Came up and made the best of it.